Hello and welcome everyone. This is Sunil from 3D Architects, and once again I welcome you all in yet another tutorial series about hybrid ray tracing in Unreal Engine. In this tutorial we will be going ahead and learning the entire process about how we can do hybrid ray tracing on a Unreal project, and we will see what are the settings we need to change and how to change and what is the approach we should take so that we can convert an existing project into a hybrid one, and that project might be using CPU Lightmass or maybe it was made in using GPU Lightmass. It doesn't matter, we can convert any of those projects which have been used by GPU, which have been made by using CPU Lightmass or GPU Lightmass. We can convert them into a hybrid scene. So without further ado, let's get started about the entire process. So for that, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we will open an Unreal Engine project that has already been done using GPU Lightmass or maybe CPU Lightmass. So let's do it now. So we'll go ahead and open a already existing project. Like if I go here in Unreal projects, I have a project like this living room hybrid rates, and I have just renamed this project into living room interior to hybrid rates, and it is just copied and pasted version, and this is absolutely using GPU Lightmass with no ray tracing at all. So we'll open this project and see how a already finished scene in Unreal Engine we can convert into a hybrid scene. So let's go ahead and then open this project. So as you can see that our file has been opened, and if we press G and then if you go ahead and then go to like lit mode, and if I make it a full screen, then you can see that this scene is already finished and it is also available on my site where you can go ahead and then download the exe of this file. And then if I press play button now, then I can go ahead and then explore this scene in real time. And now we'll be going ahead and see how we can convert this project into a ray traced project, and we will be using ray tracing like ray traced reflection and then ray traced translucency with the perfect settings. So the most important settings that you have to take care of before working inside Unreal Engine for hybrid ray tracing is you will have to go ahead and check the version of your Windows. So I will go ahead like click here and then I will type win and then work, and then I will press enter, and then we have to just cross check that if your Windows is above 1809, and you can see that my version of Windows is 1909, but if you have a Windows of 1809 or maybe 03 also, you can work in ray tracing and ray tracing will work on your Windows, so not a big problem. But you have to make sure that your Windows version is above 1803. So once you are confirmed with like which version of Windows you are using, after that what you have to do is you have to go ahead and cross check the DirectX version of your PC. So let's do that. I will again press Windows button, and then I will type DX diag, and then I will press enter. And now you have to just come into this system tab, and in this system tab you have to come here like this DirectX version, and you can see that this DirectX version is 12, and you have to make sure that your Windows is Windows 10 and it is updated to above 1803, and it has this DirectX version 12, because if you don't have this DirectX 12 in Windows, then your ray tracing will not be working inside Unreal Engine. So it's absolutely needed. And after this you have to check whether your graphic card is RTX card or not, because RTX card supports ray tracing perfectly, but you can also use this ray tracing in graphic card like 1080 Ti, like GTX 1080 Ti, but it is not recommended. But if you don't want to invest in RTX card and you already have a very powerful graphic card like GTX 1080 Ti, then yes, you can go ahead and use it for ray tracing. But my recommendation will be always try to use ray tracing on an RTX on a but my recommendation will be always use ray tracing on a RTX card. So to see whether we have a RTX card in our PC or not, to make sure that we have an RTX card, we can go into this display one, and then you can see, go in this device, and you can see the name of your card. And in my PC, the name of graphic card is NVIDIA GeForce RTX 2080 Ti. So now we are confirmed that our Windows has logged uh, everything needed for ray tracing, like Windows version is above 1803, and then we have our DirectX 12 inside our Windows, and then we have a RTX card in our system. So after this, the next step you have to follow is you have to go to NVIDIA GeForce here, right click on this NVIDIA settings, and when you right click on this, there will be two options like NVIDIA control panel and then NVIDIA GeForce experience. So you have to go ahead and click on this GeForce experience, and then your GeForce experience will be opening, and wait until it's loaded properly. And once your GeForce experience is properly loaded, you have to go into this drivers, and in this drivers there will be an option of check for updates. So you have to click this check for updates, and after you click this check for update, this this app this application will go ahead and then search for the update for graphic driver software, and if it finds a newer version, it will show you to download it, and then after downloading it will show you to install it. So you can go ahead and install that updated driver. As you can see, I have already gone ahead and then checked for updates, and now I have already downloaded and installed it. So we are ready to go, and my driver version is 446.14, and the release date of this driver was 27 May 2020. So all the necessary things that has to be taken care of before we start working inside a ray tracing or hybrid ray trace scene in Unreal Engine, we have gone ahead and make sure everything has been taken care of. So the first thing will be check for your Windows version, then check for your DirectX version, it should be DX12, and then check for whether your graphic card is RTX or not, and go ahead make sure your graphic card driver is 100% updated to the latest driver version released by NVIDIA. So after this, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and then close this toolbar, and now our Unreal Engine project, which is using GPU Lightmass, is already open inside our scene, and we will go ahead now and then change this to a ray traced scene. For that, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and see, because anytime we are making a GPU Lightmass or maybe CPU Lightmass and we are not using ray tracing in our scene, then you must be aware of that we use sphere reflection captures to give better reflection on, to capture the greater resolution on the reflections, and to make the resolution pops up and make them more accurate and make them more perfect. So we use a sphere reflection capture in scene whenever we work into a GPU Lightmass or CPU Lightmass. So if that is the case that you have sphere reflection capture in your scene, so you have to go and then right click on any sphere captures, and then you have to go to select, and then you have to click select all sphere reflection captures, and you have to just go ahead and then switch them off. Like you can also delete them if you want, but I will suggest, since they are already there, so instead of deleting them, go ahead and then make them visible off. So now they will not be affecting your scene. So what I did is I went ahead, selected all the sphere reflection captures, and then I came here and then in rendering I made them invisible, so they will not be affecting our scene anymore. And after that, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and take some like extra, we'll go ahead and do some extra settings in our project settings. And for that, what you can do is you have to go here in edit and then in project settings, and you can see here now project settings. And in project setting, what you can do is you can go ahead in this rendering in like engine, and then this rendering, you have to click on this rendering, and then you have to go ahead and disable the texture streaming. So if you don't have disabled texture streaming while you are making your normal GPU Lightmask scene before ray traced, so if you haven't disabled it, I will suggest go ahead and then disable this texture streaming, and then go ahead make the reflection capture resolution here in reflection, and then reflection capture resolution, go ahead and make it to 1024. By default, if you are using 4.25, then it will be like 2048, and I will suggest reduce it to 1024 so that you can get better performance in your scene. So after that, you have to just go ahead and scroll down, and you have to come into this default settings, and in default settings you have to switch off bloom, ambient occlusion, and all these settings which you see. You can also switch this off if you want, and if you don't want, you can leave it as is, but I will just suggest like switch this also off, so nothing should be like on here. So these all options are on by default, so you have to go ahead and then switch them off manually. And after this, after making sure that all the default settings have been switched off, you go ahead and then scroll down, and then you in optimization you will be seeing this gbuffer format. So go ahead in gbuffer format, and instead of default, go ahead and make it high precision normal. So after this, what we'll do is we'll go ahead in like keep scrolling down, and there is a ray tracing option here on almost the bottom of our editor preference project settings, and you have to just go ahead and click on this enable ray tracing. And when you click on enable ray tracing, there will be a message popping up, and it will say that ray tracing requires enabling a skin cache. Do you want to automatically enable a skin cache now? You should always click on yes. And once you have done that, you have to now go on the left side, and then you have to scroll down here, like you should just keep on scrolling down, and then in platform you will see this Windows button. So you have to just go ahead and click this Windows, and then now you can go ahead and scroll up, and then here in default RHI, so targeted RHIs, and in this default RHI you have to go ahead and then click here and like make it to DirectX 12 now. And after making it to DirectX 12, we just took care of everything that is necessary to be switched on and changed to get the best ray trace or hybrid ray trace in our Unreal Engine. So now what we'll do is we'll go ahead and then click on restart now, because after changing all those settings you have to restart your Windows, you have to restart your editor. So now we'll go ahead and then click restart now, and if you want, you can go ahead and in this tab and then click file, save all before you want to restart now. So I always go ahead and then save it and then I restart, so that my changes does not get lost if something wrong happens or maybe power failure. So once this file will be saved, we'll go ahead and then click on restart now. So we'll go ahead and then now click on restart now, and we will wait for the scene to be reloaded again after the restart. So as you can see that our scene has been restarted with all those changes we did in our project setting, and we enabled the ray tracing our project. So now our scene is ray traced scene, and our ray tracing has been enabled. And from here we'll go ahead and make changes so that this whole scene starts behaving in the perfect way for a ray tracing. So to do that, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and create a post process volume. And if this scene was already finished, you will already have a post process volume inside your project. So you have to go in World Outliner and search for post, and then you can see there two post process volumes. So I think this one is not okay, this one is being used and this one is not being used. So I will go ahead and then delete this post process volume, and then select the post process, this post process one which is affecting our scene. If I like click disable and then enable, I can see yes, it is the post process volume that is being used in the scene. So for that so after this, what you have to do is you have to go ahead in layer manager and make a post process scene. So if you can go ahead and select in outliner, if you already have this post process volume selected, you can go ahead and right click and then you can click add selected actor to new layer. And if you don't have this layer here, like palette here, you can go into Windows and then you can click like here layers, and you will be getting this layer here. And if it's somewhere else, you can go ahead and drag and drop it to here if you want. And if I go ahead and select this, I don't have any post process volume here, so I will just delete this layer and I will rename this layer as post process volume of version 01. Okay, so I will go ahead and now double click here. And the advantage of making a post process volume layer in our layer manager is like if you can just go ahead and directly click, double click on it, and or your post process volume will be selected. So for that and after that, the first thing we'll be going ahead and doing is we'll go ahead and make all the changes required for your scene. But since you already using, or since you have already taken a scene that was finished, then you will already have all the post process volume tweaked and set appropriately for this scene. Like if I go ahead and show you the settings, like here in Bloom I have gone ahead in method and then made it to convolution. And then even go, if you go into exposure, then we are using, or maybe I, and if we go ahead in exposure, we can see that in exposure compensation I am using 2.25, and then minimum and maximum brightness is fixed to 1. When you go into this chromatic aberration, you can see the intensity I am using 0.1 and the start offset to 0.1. And then if you go ahead in this white balance, then you can see that we are using the temperature of 6000. So if you want, you can like switch it off and you can see the difference of the temperature between default 6500 and then this 6000. And when you go into this global, then you can go ahead and saturation, you can see that I'm using a saturation of 0.75, and then in contrast I'm using a contrast of 1.15, and you can also see the difference. And in this gamma I am using 1.25, and you can see what the difference it is making. And then in gain you can go ahead and see this, like, so I'm just going ahead and showing you what are all the settings in post process volume which I have already used to make this scene realistic and to finish the post processing of this scene. So so that you can get a knowledge about what are the post process settings you want to give on it. And after all those settings, what you have to do is to make this scene into a ray tracing scene. You will go ahead into this rendering features in this post process volume, and then you can go ahead here in this ray trace reflection or maybe reflections, and you can see that the moment you enable ray tracing into Unreal Engine project or on a Unreal Engine project, it will by default start using your ray trace reflection. So if I go ahead and click here, by default ray trace reflection is already on now. So you don't have to do anything about using it. Like the moment you switch on your ray tracing into project settings, then it will start using one. And the moment you put a post process volume, then it will by default start using ray traced reflections. So let's go ahead and then see how this ray trace reflection is looking and behaving as of now. So if I go ahead and then see on this reflection, and if I go ahead and select this post process volume, and if I go to reflections and now change to this screen space, so you can see here the white thing will be available present here in this left side. And if I go ahead and click ray tracing, you see, and this ray tracing reflection are generally much more accurate, and we'll see how we can use them more accurately and more perfectly. And also you can go ahead and learn all these settings in details from my tutorial, from one of my tutorial on my YouTube channel. And the tutorial is, if you go ahead on my 3D Archicad sites and then in videos and then scroll down, you can see here how to use post-process volume settings in Unreal Engine. So you can also use this tutorial to learn how you can use all those uh, values and why they are being used. All the explanation are there available, so you can go ahead and learn this in detail, or maybe you can go ahead and see here from here and then you can apply them. And after we just went ahead and saw the difference between ray tracing, and we don't have to do anything about ray tracing because it's already by default on. We will just use it how to tweak it and make it even better. But now let's go ahead and in translucency, and that translucency and in translucency the ray traced translucency is not on by default. You have to just be aware of that, and for that you have to go here in type and then make it to like ray tracing. So the moment you make ray tracing translucency on, you can see here my glass becomes very bad, like it's now black in color. And if I go ahead and then again let me collapse these buttons. So if I go ahead and then change it to like raster, then you see the glass is at least looking a little better. But the moment we'll go ahead and then change it to ray tracing, our glass becomes black. And this is why I am making this tutorial, to remove all the bugs and errors in a ray traced scene, and then use only the ray traced translucency and ray traced reflection in the scene. And if we are using GPU light mask or maybe CPU light mask for GI bounces and then lighting and all those things, and on top of that we are going ahead and applying only the ray traced reflection and the ray traced translucency on the scene and on the material, then that kind of scene is called hybrid scene, like hybrid ray traced scene. So on that scene the whole GI and the lighting will be done using GPU light mask because it's very fast, absolutely accurate, and looks realistic, and also gives amazing performance in the real-time experience while you are exploring the scene in real time. And on top of that we can go ahead and then apply a ray traced reflection and then ray traced translucency. In that way our scene will be just looking even better, because the GPU light mask technique, and before ray tracing or when you have not implemented ray tracing in the scene, it will be using rasterized reflection and then raster reflection and raster translucency, and that does not look accurate, and then the reflection and translucency doesn't behave accurately. So if you use ray tracing reflection and translucency, the whole scene reflection and translucency will be like in natural real world, and then the scene will be looking even more realistic and amazing because the GI is perfect, and then reflection is perfect, no more rasterization, and then translucency is perfect, no more rasterization. So we'll go ahead, and then as you can see that when we just switched on our translucency to ray tracing, our this like ray tracing is now our translucency is like not good anymore in our translucent object. So we'll go ahead and then change some setting to make this translucent material even better, and then we will also go ahead and make some materials. Like when you see, like if you see here, this metal material is now not good anymore, and it's not looking good, and it has lots of noise. So we'll make metal material and then a translucent material, and after making those two materials you can just get an idea about how the material has to be made into a ray traced scene. A material type should be metallic and then translucency, because these are the main things which get weird effect when you use hybrid ray tracing, or when you use your ray tracing on, or maybe when you switched on your ray tracing in your pre-bit light scene. So to overcome those, I will just go ahead and make a metallic material, and then I will make a translucent material, the perfect one. And after that we'll be going ahead and tweaking the reflections on the surfaces of the material, or maybe reflection on the material of all the surfaces. And then we'll be going ahead and making a, or maybe, and then we'll be going ahead and rendering a scene of cinematic, or maybe you can just make a exe if you want. So after switching on ray tracing in our translucency, we can see that our translucent material is not behaving properly, and if you can also see that it is also not behaving properly. So now to make it behave properly, we have to make a very nice translucent material. For that, what we can do is we can just go ahead here, or maybe in this texture folder, and then we will right click and then create a material here and name it as glass main, and then we'll open this material and we will dock it here. Now we'll go ahead and then, like, I don't have any palette here on the right, so we'll go ahead and then I will bring this palette back, and I will go ahead and in palette, and then drag a constant 3 vector here, and then right click on it, and I will convert it to parameter, and I will name it as glass color, and then I will drag and drop this to base color, and then I will double click on it and make it to almost to white, or maybe 100% white. And after that I will just right click on the viewport here, anywhere in the viewport, right click, and then I will say write a scalar, and you see here a scalar parameter, and the shortcut of this scalar parameter is S. If you press S on your keyboard and then left click, then you can also get this scalar parameter. So I will right click, and now I will select this scalar parameter, and then I will rename it to like metallic, and I will just go ahead and then drop it on metallic, and then I will select this parameter and I will rename it as a specular, and then I will drop this into a specular, and I will just right click on it and duplicate it, or maybe you can copy it and paste it, or you can just select it and press Ctrl W to duplicate it, and then you can select it and then come here and name it as roughness, and then you can go ahead and then put it on roughness. And now you have to select the base material here, because it's a glass, we need translucency on this material base node. So I just went ahead and selected this glass main node of this material, and then I go, and then you have to go to this material on the left side, and then blend mode, and change it from opaque to translucent. The moment you change it to translucent, your all this metallic specular roughness and will be grayed out. So to get them back, so that you can control all the parameters of metallic, specular and roughness to make the best glass possible, you have to select this base node again, and then you have to scroll down, and in translucency you have to just change this lighting model from volumetric non-directional to surface translucency volume. So the moment you will change the surface translucency volume, your metallic, specular and roughness properties will be back again. And now I will go ahead and then press Ctrl W again to duplicate it, and I will put it on opacity, because it's a translucent and we need, and translucent and it's glass, we need to control the opacity of our glass. So we'll go ahead and rename it to like opacity, and what we can do is we can go ahead and give some default value on this, like on specular we can go ahead and give a default value of 1, And on roughness you can go ahead and give a default value of 0.1, not here, 0.1. So it just went ahead because I already know that most of the cases I need a specular of 1 and roughness to maybe 0.1 on most of the object. So I will start it as from here, and then I will further tweak it to get the perfect reflection and the specularity on the surface. And opacity also you can go ahead and make the default value to 0.35, and then we'll go ahead and apply it. And after that we'll click this browse button, so it will search your material in the content browser. And after that you have to right click here, and then you have to just create material instance. And once you create material instance, now you can go ahead and apply this material instance on the object. So I will just select this object, and then I will right click here, and then select all with the same material. So all the objects that has been applied, this material will be selected, and I will just apply this material on those objects like this. And we will wait until the shaders are compiled. And as you can see, now the shaders have been compiled, and now we will be going ahead and tweaking the parameter of this glass material so that we can get the best glass possible in our scene. So we'll go ahead, select this one or any object, and then I will double click the material, and we will have this glass material instance here. And now we have to tweak this material properties to get the best material possible. And I will just adjust this palette so that I can have a view in the scene, and then I can also adjust its parameter. So after doing like this, I'll go ahead and click on metallic and make the metallic value to 1. And as you can see, we are getting some difference. And then in this opacity, we'll go ahead and make it 0.1. And in roughness, we'll go ahead and make it to 0. And in specular, we'll go ahead and you can adjust the specular depending on your requirement. So if you want, you can just leave it to 1, and then now it has started looking perfect. And still there is some black thing here, and that will be controlling from our post process volume here. So no worries, we'll see how we can control that. And once we have made a glass material in the scene and applied it on our object, what we can do is now we will go ahead and select this post process volume, and then we'll scroll down, and then we'll expand this ray tracing translucency option here. Okay, and here in our ray trace translucency, to get the best reflective material possible, we'll go ahead in this ray tracing translucency max refraction bounces, and we will make it to 12. So the moment we made it 12, now you can see our reflections are much better than the earlier one. So if I go ahead and make it default, switch this off and then on, you can see the difference here, like some angle, specific angle, you see. And after this, what you have to do is you have to go into this settings, and in engine scalability you have to make sure that you are using cinematic quality. Don't use low, medium, high or epic when you are using a hybrid scene. It has to be this engine scalability setting has to be on cinematic to get the best reflection and then translucency possible. So after this, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and make a metallic material. So what we'll do is we'll just go ahead and select this material and tweak it so that to make it even better. So I'll just double click on it, and then I'll close this as of now, and then I will just open this facade, and you can see that we have like this texture here and this material, and we will go ahead and then tweak these materials if required. So we already have a instance of this, so let's go ahead and then optimize that instance material to get the best metallic like value possible on this surface. So we'll go ahead and double click this, and then we'll be bringing this like here, and we'll go ahead and make the reflection to 0.075, and then we'll go ahead this blend mode. You can let me show you the settings here of this material. What we have done on this material is I have gone ahead and given a LURP so that I can blend the color with this texture, and I have gone ahead and then given the rotation on this texture so that we can rotate the angle of the texture here by using texture coordinate and then constant 2 vector, and then add, and then like this rotation, and then this value of that one constant. And then we can have this blend amount which can blend this between this texture and color using alpha. And then we have given a metal setting, and then specular roughness, and then this flatten normal to flatten your normal, and then all this same command. You can also go ahead and just apply this if you want. You can also apply this if you need, and then made a instance out of this, and then I have applied this on this. Now we are going ahead and then changing this material to get best out of our like ray tracing. So I went ahead and made the specular to 1, and then we will just switch off this metallic value, and then we'll go ahead and then make this a little bit darker. And now we want this texture to be less evident, so we can go ahead and use this blend amount. So I'll go ahead and then decrease this blend amount, and then I will go ahead in this color, and then we will make this color like this. If I go here closely, I can see our material here. You just have to play with the settings, and this will be the setting of your material for metallic if there is texture. And if there is no texture, you can use this blend amount to use only texture or use only color. It is dependent on you. So you just have to this setup, and then all this will be like controllable into this viewport in real time, and then you can just go ahead and use it. So after this, we'll go ahead and tweak a little bit of reflection on all the objects. So this object is having a little bit less reflection, so we'll go ahead and double click it, and we'll do it like here. And if you want, you can just go ahead and then make it reflective, like more reflective here. You see how accurate this reflection is now. And I will go ahead and make this specular to 1 and roughness to maybe 0.2. Yeah, this 0.2 is looking perfect, and you just have to do the similar on all the materials. So I will show you like this. This is the material setup. Like we have a texture, and then a color, and then LURP, and then blend amount to blend between the texture and the color if needed. And there is a metallic value, a specular value, and reference value, and then we have made it a instance material and then applied on the surface. And if needed, we can just double click this instance material, and then we can just tweak it according to our requirement. So I can go ahead and then make it roughness to 0.2, and then it's like specular to 1. And if I just come here like closely, press F, then I can go ahead and see the reflection on this. You can see how the reflection is behaving on this, and you just have to go ahead and then tweak all the materials required for your ray tracing. And then after this, you just have your ray trace reflection on, and then ray tracing scene is like hybrid ray tracing is now on. So when I pressed play, now you can see that our ray tracing is on now, and you can see here the ray trace reflection behaving accurately. You can see those reflection on the dining table, and we'll be going ahead and optimizing this scene for a cinematic rendering or cinematic render so that it looks even better. So as you can see that we already have enabled our ray tracing into ray traced reflection and then ray traced translucency in the scene, and we can go ahead and then apply this material on this object also. We can select this metal material and then search it, and then we can apply it on this also. And your work is to go ahead and then adjust the reflection according to the surface and the amount you want. And then okay, let's adjust the material on this TV also, so that you can get a hang of it. So I'll just double click it and then open it, and let's adjust this TV material now. So we'll go ahead and make it reflected to 1, and we will go ahead and give some metallic value on it. And we'll just go ahead and change the color, and you can see now we are getting very accurate reflection, absolutely perfect reflection now. And now we can go ahead and then if you want you can just increase or decrease the reflection, and you can also increase this specular. You just have to go ahead and then just like adjust the setting. So as I said, you have to go ahead and adjust the setting on all your object. So now you can see we are getting very good reflection. Maybe 0.05 will be okay, and then this will 0.1, and then metal value will be like 0.25 will be enough. Yeah, and we can also go ahead and make this to a little black. So this way you have to just go ahead and tweak all objects material to make the reflection as accurate as possible. And you can go ahead and then select this material and then apply here also. Like you see how accurate this reflection is now. You can see it's absolutely amazing in terms of reflection. Absolutely accurately it's reflecting our scene, this now translucent object. And you just remember that you have to just make this max reflection so to 12 to get this like back portions, you see here accurate. And you can also see the effect here. And you can also see this on the dining table reflection. See, the reflection is now so accurate and looking awesome. And on TV also, if you go ahead and see, you will get good reflection. So I just tweaked the material on this table, and then this glass, and on this fridge, and then on this window, and then on TV. And you have to just continue tweaking the material on each and every object to make them even better, because the material already would have been tweaked by you according to a GP light mask and raster reflection setups and all. But now since it has been upgraded to ray tracing, and it is now hybrid ray tracing using ray tracing reflection translucency, so you have to go ahead and then manually adjust the reflection and then specularity and then translucency of each and every object to make them look more good, or to make them look even better and realistic. And once you have done all those tweaking of the material after switching on the ray tracing, what you can do is now you can go ahead and then make a cinematic and then render this as a video. So I will go ahead in cinematic, and I will add a level sequencer, and I will just right click and then new folder, and then cinematic. And in this cinematic we can go ahead and then name it as 01 underscore sequence, and then we'll just go ahead and then save this. And now we'll go ahead and make a simple cinematic video so that I can show you what are the settings that needs to be given to render a high quality cinematic video of a hybrid ray trace scene without any noise in the scene and all those things. So you out of the box have your now this hybrid ray trace scene, right? And now there will be some little bit of reflection noise in a hybrid ray trace scene, but that, and if you want to remove this noise you will have to lose your fps too much, so it's not advised. So if there is some little bit of noise in the reflection, I will suggest you go with it, use it as it is with some reflection, because you will get a better fps in the scene. And if you want to remove that noise, and then it will be like very difficult for your real-time scene and when you will be exploring the scene. So I will suggest just leave it as it is and try to control the reflection noise from material itself. And but when you want to render a cinematic video out of it, then you can go ahead and render the cinematic video with absolute quality without any noise. And I will be going ahead and showing you how to do that by making a simple camera animation using sequencer, and then I will be explaining all the things that is needed. So I will go ahead and then let me go here. I will just find a good viewport. So as you can see, I just found a good place where I can start from, like this, and then I will go here like create, and then create a camera here, and then cine camera actor. And once it has been created, I will go here in this sequencer. If you remember, I just went ahead and added label sequencer and renamed it, and it is now open here. And I will just click on this track and then add to sequencer, and then I will click add cine camera actor, because it's already been like it has been already been selected in our scene. So I'll just click here cine camera actor, and now I will go ahead and then press Ctrl and then the middle mouse button in this viewport to scroll it down, and then I will go ahead here and I will put it like 300, and then I will just go ahead and then you can also right click on this and then you can set end time. And now you have your timer from 0 to 300, and you can just go ahead and then here you can make it this focal like manual focus distance to 0, and your current focal length to you can make it like 15 will be better. And you have to now go to this perspective, and then you can go ahead and then click on this camera actor. And once you see it black, so you just go ahead and then zoom in a bit till, okay, this one is not the camera. Oh yes, this is the cine camera actor which we created. So now you can go ahead and here like this, and then you can just go to like this here, and then maybe click here and then press 0, and now you can go ahead and transform and then click on this add key. And then once you have added key, you can just go ahead here and then just press F, and you can see your camera is already selected in this viewport. And now you have to just bring your slider to maybe like somewhere anywhere up above this 0, and then you can just go ahead and then animate this camera from here like this, and then you can just go ahead and click on this here, and a camera like a keyframe is added, and then right click on this keyframe and set key time, and now press it to 300. So now it's just up to 300, and you can just go ahead and then increase it a little bit, and then go ahead and select this first keyframe, and then here in camera cards, go ahead and click on this camera and then click on this Cine Camera Actor. And now if you go ahead and then click this, our camera will be like visible in the scene. Okay, and now we'll go ahead and then click here, and then we'll go ahead and then click, we can click play, and now we can see that we are able to play our cinematic. So once we have our cinematic here, now we need to give all the important settings, and we want to render this cinematic as high quality as possible. You can go ahead and like animate, give lots of camera in this scene. You can go ahead and then give lots of camera animation and making amazing cinematic camera, but that is the not main case. The main case is how to render that cinematic video as perfectly as possible, and that is the main thing which I am going to explain you in this tutorial further. So once our cinematic is rendered or like ready, you have to go into this window, and this in window there is cinematic tab, and then there is a movie render queue. You can also render this from here, but I will not recommend this because this is going to be removed in future release of Unreal anyway, and this is not so powerful and not so amazing. It's a just simple thing like a rendering tool which was introduced in Unreal Engine, but this one is going to be developed further in future, and this one will be the final or with the main thing to render a cinematic video, and this one is will be removed in the future releases. So just go ahead in window and then cinematic and click movie render queue. Now here in movie render queue you have to just click on this render plus, and now you can see our 01 sequence here which we already saved in this cinematic, and then we can just go ahead and then click level sequence, and after that there is setting button here, and in this setting button you just have to click this button, and now you can go ahead and optimize and give lots of settings here so that our cinematic rendering is as perfect as possible and as high quality as possible. For that what you can do is you can just go ahead here in settings, and then you can just click on this game overrides. So I will go ahead and then click game overrides, and then you can see in this setting game override, and in this you just have to go in rendering texture streaming and then click disable texture streaming. That's all you need to do in this. Now you have to go ahead here and then click on console variables. So when you go ahead and click console variables, you can see here like game and then console variable, and if you click here then you can have lots of like you can go ahead and keep on giving the console commands here, right? And those console commands are here, like if you go in this output log and then if you press like r dot ray tracing, then you have lots of commands here, and we will be going ahead selecting few of the perfect commands to render our cinematic video, and then we'll go ahead and give those commands here one by one in chronologic order, and then we will be going ahead and rendering the cinematic to get the best quality cinematic possible, and that is only possible by the help of these console variables, and which are present in here in console, and we'll giving them and then tweaking them accordingly, which I will be just going and showing what are the commands you need to give here in console variables to get the perfect result possible. So the first command we will be giving on this will be like, if we go here in this output log and then we press here like r dot ray tracing, and then like ray tracing dot reflection, and then reflection sample per pixel, this one. So you just go ahead, copy this, and then you have to paste it here, and you have to give its value to 32, or for we will be rendering for like preview quality, so we'll go ahead and give it 4 for preview quality. So after we have just gone ahead and given the ray tracing reflection sample per pixel, we can also go ahead and then select this post process volume, and we can start giving the values accordingly. So we'll go ahead, and then we already have given that this reflection and then ray tracing is on, and then this ray tracing reflection is on, and we just went ahead and then given a sample per pixel. We can also go ahead and give the first bounces, like the first version will be like bounces. So I'll go ahead here, like r dot ray tracing and then reflection dot reflection, and then this reflection bounces. So I'll just go ahead, copy this, and then paste it here, and then you see here now 4. So we'll start from like chronological. So we'll keep this max roughness value to default. So to keep this max roughness value to default, we will not give any console variable here, so it will be just using this 0.6. And to control this max bounces from here like 1, then we just went ahead and then gave a console command and then made it to 4. Now we want to control the sample per pixel, so we'll just go ahead and click this, and then we'll go ahead and then like reflection and then sample per pixel, and then we'll copy this sample per pixel and then we'll paste it here, and we will give it value to 4 as of now, because we are going to render the low quality one or medium quality one to test our cinematic. And then after this there is like shadows. For shadows, what we can do is we just go ahead and then click reflection, and then we'll click on shadows, and then we'll just go ahead, copy this and click on this plus button and then paste it and make it 2. So if it's like ray tracing, reflection, shadows is 2 here, then it will start using this like shadows and then heart, and then it will be using area shadow. So when we are in the viewport and just exploring the scene, we will be using our like default value here, right, ray tracing. But when we will be rendering our cinematic, then these are the values that will be used. Okay, and we made the shadows from hard shadow to area shadow, and after that we'll just go ahead and include translucency. If you want, you can use, and if you don't want, you cannot use it. It's not a big problem. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and switch it off, no problem. And now we'll go ahead and use translucency. So we will not be using anything from here while we are rendering the cinematic video. We will always will give the exact values we need for the best quality while we are rendering the cinematic. So you just go ahead and then go into our output, and then like here ray tracing translucency, and you just click here ray tracing translucency, and then just copy it and then make another console command here, and then you just paste it here and make it like 1. So when it's 1, then ray tracing is on. When it's 0, then ray tracing is off on translucency. And after this, what you have to do is you have to go ahead and use this max roughness to maybe 0.6 is default values. Okay, if you want, you can go ahead and give it a console command and make it to 1, but 0.6 is okay as of now. Now we'll go ahead and give a max refraction bounces. So we'll go ahead on translucency and then dot max refraction rays here. You see, like if you can go here like max refraction rays. So we'll go ahead, copy this, and then make one more console command, and then control V, and then we can go ahead and click 12 here. So now when we render a cinematic, this 12 value will be used. And now after this we have to give a sample per pixel on our glass. So we'll just go ahead and then select this and then press sample per pixel, and then copy this and make another console command, and then we can just press control V, and then we can go ahead and make it like 64. And then we have to make the like use the area shadow. By default it will be using like hard shadow here. So to make it use area shadow, what we can do is we can just go ahead and then click here like shadows, and then we can just click select these shadows, copy, and then again we can click on this make another console command, then control V, and now we can go ahead and make it like 2. So if it's 2, then area shadow will be used. If it's 1, then the hard shadow will be used. And by default refraction is on, so we don't have to give console command. But if you want your refraction to be switched off, like let's go ahead and then see if what is the quality we are getting on the refraction if we are switching off this refraction. And after that we can decide whether we want refraction to be on or switched off. So if I go ahead and then click this, so yeah, as you can see, when we are switching off the refraction, we are getting much better quality of reflection in our scene. So let's go ahead and then switch this on, off. Yeah, so when we are switching this off, we are getting better reflection. So in like cinematic, if you want that this refraction to be switched off, then now what you have to do is you have to just come here and then click on refraction dot refraction, and then you can just click here this select refraction, then copy it, and then you can just go ahead and then here and then paste it and leave it to 0. So when it's 0, then the refraction will be off while rendering the cinematic. If when it's 1, then refraction will be on like this while rendering. Okay, so I'll go ahead, make it to 0, and I will just like click here and then here, and then I will go ahead, click on this preset, and you can also go ahead and save this as a preset. So I will go ahead, click here, save as preset, and then I will go in cinematic, and then I will like render pending movie pipeline config. I will just save it, and then we will go ahead in this output, and in output directory we'll go ahead and select image sequence and right click new folder 08, and then select this folder, and we can just make the output resolution to 1920 1080, and then use custom frame rate. We can just switch it on, and then we can go ahead and make it 30. And so you have so as you can see, what are the things we just went ahead and given here is the first thing was game override, and then we disabled the texture streaming on this game override, and then we went ahead on console variables, and we given all the proper console variables here. So when we will be rendering a normal quality, we will be giving this ray tracing reflection sample per pixel to 4, and once we render it on low quality, when we test it and everything looks fine, then we'll go ahead and make it to like 32 or maybe 64, and then we can go ahead and then build this render the cinematic video on the highest quality possible. So it will be like 64 for the final quality, and then we went ahead in output and gave the output directory and then make it 30 fps, and then we will go ahead and then like click save preset, and I will override all the existing preset. And before rendering the cinematic video, I will always suggest that you should make your you will make your viewport to unlit to get most of the graphic card being used on the like a cinematic viewport. So your graphic card memory will not be unnecessarily used. If it's like in lit mode, then that viewport will also take some graphic memory. So to avoid that, I went ahead and then made it to unlit. So after this, we'll go ahead and then now click to render a cinematic, and since it's this reflection sample per pixel is 4, then we will consider this rendering as a medium quality. And once we will be satisfied, then we can go ahead and then change it to 32 or maybe 64 first and then render it. If it's crashing, then we'll go ahead and remove like reduce it to 32. So as you can see, the test render or the medium quality render has been finished, and took only 59 seconds to render it. And now let's go ahead and have a look on it and how it looks. We'll go ahead and use a very nice application, that is DJ View. You can go ahead and then find it like DJ View, DJ Viewer, DJV Viewer, and you can just go ahead and download this from here, and you will have this software, like this software. And we'll just go ahead and then drag and drop one of our images, and we will go ahead and then click play. So as you can see, everything is looking nice, and obviously you would have gone ahead and tweaked all the materials according to ray tracing like settings, and just I corrected this, like improved this reflection on this dining table, and then on this glass material here, and then on this fridge metal. So you just go ahead and just tweak all the objects material according to ray tracing, and on top of that you have to just apply these settings here, and then render the final cinematic. So now, since our medium quality settings is looking absolutely perfect, so now we'll go ahead and increase it. And before increasing and going for the final quality, one more thing you have to remember is, in console command you have to go ahead and then increase the sample per pixel to 64. Okay, and that's all you need to do to render the final quality cinematic. And then we'll go ahead and then override this again, and then press yes. And now you have to go to this output and then change this output to maybe like right click, new folder, and then 09, and then you can go inside this and then select folder, and then just accept it, and then go to file and then save all, and make sure your viewport is in unlit mode, and then you can just go ahead and render it. So if you remember, what we did is we just went ahead and then uh, increase this console variable to 64 from 4, and that will be once the rendering is done on this 64 sample per pixel, then we will be considering that as the final quality cinematic, and we change also the location where it has to be saved now. So now let's go ahead and then press render button to render it, and we'll see after that how it looks. So as you can see here, our GPU is crashed, or D3D received remove debug error. So it's like 64 is not going to work for us. So we will go ahead, click OK, and then we'll open Unreal Engine again. This was only to test whether we can render this on 64 reflection sample per pixel or not. So if it's not, no problem, because we already saved the project before rendering it. So we'll go ahead and reduce that value to maybe 32, and then we'll render it again, and I'm sure it will start rendering the scene. So I'll go ahead, more, and then browse, and then Unreal project, and then this living room hybrid, and then I'll open it. So now after opening Unreal project, we'll go ahead and make it to unlit, and then we'll go in Windows, Cinematic, Movie Render Queue, and then we'll go ahead and then here in render select sequence, and then this setting, and then preset will load this, and we have already 64 here. We'll make it like 32 now, and then we'll cross check this output, and then let's make it to 09, and then save, accept, file, save all again, and then we'll go ahead and then click render once again. So as you can see that final rendering has been done, and it took around 8 minutes to render this cinematic video in high quality on all these console variables, and these console variables of like sample per pixel, reflection sample per pixel to 32. Now we'll go ahead again and then use our DJV viewer to see the result. So I'll go ahead and then here 09, and then I will just go ahead and drag and drop the any of one image, and then you can go ahead and then click play, and you can see it's absolutely fine. And when you would have gone ahead and given the reflection on all those materials which I said on this few materials, then this scene will look even amazing. And you can see this reflection in this glass, so accurate and so awesome now, and it's like looking very realistic reflection, and all those reflection also looking very realistic. And you can also see this reflection on this dining table, it's very accurate now and with no noise at all. So you can now have a high quality cinematic video. And this rate, and we can have a very realistic scene and amazing quality cinematic video if if we introduce hybrid ray tracing. And if we just go ahead, and now if you now let's focus on this, and that is like every time you use this movie render queue, this one, then and to you render the cinematic video, your GI will be just like ray tracing will be disabled. And to make it again enable, you just go ahead, save this, and then close the Unreal Engine, and then you have to start Unreal Engine again, so that it is already again enabled. So as a conclusion about this tutorial, what we did is we went ahead, took a already finished scene inside Unreal Engine that was using GPU Lightmass, and it was absolutely 100% finished product and finished project inside Unreal Engine using GPU Lightmass. And we went ahead, took it, and then we went ahead and switched all the settings necessary in Windows and then graphic card, and then in like Unreal Engine we went ahead and then switched on all the appropriate settings, and then we went ahead in our project, and then we used a post process volumes and then we optimized the post volume settings according to use it for our real time like ray tracing, ray traced reflection. For using ray traced reflection and then translucency, we went ahead and then optimized all the materials, and I went ahead and made few materials for you guys to see how we can make a ray traced material. And then we went ahead and then optimized every like given, like if we go into this post process setting, we went ahead here and then we just gave this to max reflection 12, and then we switched off our ray tracing. And if you want, you can just also switch on this, like switch it on. And then I just told you all that you have to go ahead and improve the reflection on all the materials, and then your scene is ready for a hybrid like experience.